Folks Computer Club. My name is Lance T. Walker. I'm the founder, and I'm glad you're here. I want to talk specifically with two groups of people today. The first is people who have made a career working in what we call DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which now has an entirely new meaning. We choose to call it delivering excellence independently. Okay? The second group of people I want to address today is United States military veterans who've been trained and understand the value of working together with people from diverse backgrounds. Diversity trained veterans understand that people with different backgrounds working toward the same mission is an incredibly powerful and nearly unstoppable force. Okay? Now, the political environment may have changed, but reality has not. And here at the Grown Folks Computer Club, we believe in doing what works. Okay? So the world is not going to stop becoming more diverse just because a few scared wolves in red hats can't deal with reality. Okay? We're going to deal with reality here. And if you've made it to this point, you're the type of people we want to work with. Now, before you make the decision to join the Grown Folks Computer Club, I'm going to ask you to make 3 decisions. Okay? And before you freak out, understand you've already made the first one. Okay? So, 3 decisions. The first is, are you prepared to spend the next 20 years of your career doing what you've been doing for the last 20 years? If the answer to that is no, you're our kind of folks. Okay? This is about the mid-career pivot. This is about no longer just working to pay the bills or just working because you're doing something that was expected of you, but you're ready to start moving toward your purpose. What is the reason you came to this planet? What mission were you given to fulfill? Okay, that's the first decision. The second decision is equally serious, and that is this. Given the changing and changed political climate in the United States, we are all facing a very serious choice. Do we stay or do we go? Now, there are very strong arguments on both sides. With the technology available today, many of us can literally work from anywhere. The question is that the choice we want to make? We'll go into that a lot deeper, especially for those of you who choose to participate in the accelerator program, the 3-day accelerator program. But for right now, I just want to introduce that to you and get your mind thinking, because it's kind of real. Okay? Now, before we get to the third choice, I want to answer a question that's probably in your mind right now, probably has been for a few minutes at least. And that is, who is this Lance T. Walker guy anyway? Who am I and why should you listen to me? In order to answer that question, I just want to give you a brief bio of my experience and why it's relevant to the choices and options that you're facing right now. Okay, I was born in 1962. I'm what they call a 60s kid. I am part of that forgotten generation that we call ambassadors, in between the baby boomers and Gen X, who basically grew up in the 60s, saw a lot of the turmoil and upheaval and promises basically that were made during the 60s. And then by the time we became of age later in the 70s, it was all gone. So The experiences we had, though, were very applicable to what you're facing right now. Because if you're under the age of 50, then, or maybe even 55, then you've never experienced what the world was like prior to the murders of Dr. Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy in 1968. After those events, which happened, in broad daylight, or right in front of the cameras, in front of everybody, the whole world, the lie was propagated that the civil rights movement had won. That because of a few political, sheets of paper that were signed, that everything was different. That discrimination and racism were no longer things to be worried about. Those were things that happened in the past, and this was a whole new world. The truth of the matter is, the civil rights movement was decapitated, and after the loss of the Mount Rushmore of the liberal movement, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, and Bobby Kennedy. After all of those leaders, the best of their generation, were assassinated, basically everybody went underground. And, folks ducked their heads and proceeded to focus on, getting a decent job and paying the bills. The hippie lifestyle was no longer in fashion. And of course, our, Caucasian counterparts basically cut their hair, put on their suits, and went to work for daddy. And they suddenly reappeared later on as what we would refer to as Reagan Republicans. Okay, people who, said nonsensical things like, I'm socially liberal, but fiscally conservative, which is a really cute way of saying, I understand that these programs are needed and that people need help. I just don't want my tax money going to help pay for it. That's really what those things meant. Well, I was raised my first half of my childhood in the 1960s, and I saw what the world was like before the mask went on. Okay, I'm sure you've heard about people such as Ruby Bridges in the Deep South, who desegregated all white school systems, and the various hassles and experiences that they went through. Okay, well, I want you to know, I, as a child, was sent to desegregate not one, but 4 different school systems, 2 public and 2 private, over a 10-year period, from 1967 to 1977. Okay, now because it was upstate New York, we didn't get the cameras, those of us who did the heavy lifting of desegregation during that time. Okay, we just got the abuse. But I tell you something else, we also got the strength, and we got the perspectives. Okay, you see, the people that you've been dealing with working in DEI, the people who have invited you to express your opinions and take a seat at the table, knowing all the while that they had absolutely no intentions of taking your perspectives and viewpoints seriously. I went to school with those people. Okay, I understand who they are and how they think because I was taught the same things they were taught. Okay, they never intended for me to be there, but I was there. So I've been walking the walk and fighting these battles for over half a century. And I am in a position to help you understand a lot of the mysteries and, confounding realities that you're now facing, because you've been brought up your entire life to believe that all that stuff is in the past. It's not that way anymore. And I'm here to tell you that's nonsense. Okay, it's never changed. Okay, all that's happened is they put the mask on and they faked it. And now here we are 57 years after the death of Dr. King, and basically they just can't hide it anymore. They're tired of faking it. They're tired of pretending that they're more human and more advanced than they actually are. Okay, so let's deal with that reality. And I feel sorry for you guys in a lot of ways, because you were raised in a post civil rights era where you were told the lies from day one. And just listen for a second. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Okay, that's all in the past. Things aren't like that anymore. You're being oversensitive. If you guys would just stop talking about discrimination and racism, it would go away. Oh yeah, does any of that sound familiar? It's almost like they all went to school. They went to the same school and studied from the same playbook of nonsense and excuses to try to gaslight you with. Okay? I'm not prejudiced. My best friend is black. Really? Ever ask him what that black friend's name is? Okay? They can't come up with it. Or maybe they'll, come up with an imaginary one just to keep the lie going. All right? Well, the fact of the matter is, you can't tame a wolf that refuses to be tamed. Okay? A wolf can only tame themselves if they want to be. And these guys have no incentive to want to change. Okay? The lies, the divide and conquer strategy, okay, it's been working for them for 2,000 years. They've been ruling the planet for 2,000 years. They have no incentive to change whatsoever. Okay? Understand this as well. When you make the decision that you want to fight for equality, you must understand that to the people in charge, you have automatically branded yourself as a loser. Because in their minds, their way of thinking, they're winning the race. Why in the world would they want equality? To them, equality is a step backwards. Okay? When you ask them to go for equality, you're asking them to voluntarily step back and join the second place losers. That's how they see it. Okay? So let's get something really clear right now. We're not fighting for equality. We're in this to win. Okay? We play to win. And any war, any competition you find yourself in my opinion, if you're not playing to win, your chances are already slim to none. Okay? Because the other side isn't playing for equality. The other side is playing to win. And if that means you have to lose, well, that's just part of the game. Okay? And we're going at this from a different perspective. Okay? Fighting for equality is a wonderful, noble idea, but in the real world, it just doesn't play out. And that's just the way it is. Okay? So that's why I told you earlier that we believe that the words DEI have an entirely new meaning now. Okay? It's no longer about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's no longer about begging for a spot at the table, okay, where we'll never eat. Okay? Now it's about delivering excellence independently. Okay? You have the skills and abilities that the world needs, the world is hungry for, the world is clamoring for. And your skills are needed in all kinds of industries for all kinds of reasons. Okay? Corporations' customer markets are becoming more diverse every day. People around the world are rising up, making better incomes, demanding better treatment. Okay? And companies have to meet those demands if they want to sell their products and services. You are in the perfect position to make that happen because you know what it takes to bring different people together in a common mission. Okay? The advantage I bring to you is that having grown up at the time that I did, having the experiences that I did, I can help you understand the perspective of the opposition that you're dealing with. I can help you understand their true motives, their true intentions, okay, and spot a lot of the traps and diversions that they'll put in your path to try to stop you from reaching your goals. Okay, I've got a unique perspective, but I'm not the only one. There's a lot of us that grew up when I grew up, and we can help. Okay? So, having said all that, let's get to the third choice that I'm going to want you guys to make today. The third decision is this. Moving forward into the second half of your career, for the next 20 years, what kind of strategy do you want to engage? You basically have three choices laid out in front of you. The first is to seek another corporate position and continue to try to climb the corporate ladder. If that's what floats your boat, if that's what's appropriate for you at this point in your life, feel free to make that decision. Okay? We can help you with that. We can help you make the decision regarding what industry you want to work in, what type of corporation you're looking for, and how to make it happen so that you can effectively continue your employment. Okay? The second option is the corporate position with the side hustle in place. Okay? Now, that choice for most entrepreneurial minded people can be the best choice, but it can also be the most challenging, because keeping a corporate job with the side hustle involves an extra level of sacrifice and investment in yourself. Okay, it's there's a saying that what you do from 9 to 5 is what pays your bills, and what you do from 5 to 9 is what builds your future. Okay, now that might sound pretty good, but a lot of people have other things going on, such as, I don't know, raising children. Okay, maybe you're taking care of parents, in a caretaker role. Maybe you have other obligations, church, charity, volunteerism. There's lots of reasons why your 5 to 9 time or your weekend time can be occupied. And those things will be impacted or straight up sacrificed when you make the decision to invest in your entrepreneurial path and start, building that side hustle to help determine your future. So understand, it's not the easiest choice. For a lot of people, it's the best choice, but nobody said it's going to be easy. Okay? But once again, we have the people in place to help you make that decision and carry out that decision in a way that helps you achieve your goals. The third option is to take the plunge. Okay? Go ahead and make the leap and become a straight up business owner, entrepreneur, consultant, whatever word you want to use. Okay? I choose to group those all into one word: independent. Okay? If you're ready to hang out your shingle and present your services to the world, develop a client base, and build an independent income, then now would be the time to do that. Okay? You will never be stronger than you are right now. Okay? I'm trying to think of the wisdom that was shared with me at one time. They said, hang on, I'll think of it. Okay, got it. Here we go. The wisdom is this. 20 years ago, I was strong enough, but I didn't have the knowledge. 20 years from now, I'll have the knowledge, but I may not be strong enough. At this point in your life right now, in your 40s or 50s, you have both the strength and the knowledge. There'll never be a better time to strike while the iron's hot. Okay? All right. If you've stayed with me this far, then you are a candidate to become one of us. Go ahead and press the green button at the top of this video, or if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link below and take a look at what we have to offer you. I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised. Also, when you click the green button, you will see some of the other options, the resources that we offer at no charge. We also have some goodies that you may be interested in at a lower cost financially. But the point is, this is your diversity academy. This is your digital diversity academy. Okay, your mid-career pivot starts here. This is Lance T. Walker. Go ahead and press the green enter button right now.